Okay, and this is a recording of the Board of Health meeting of December indeed, I wish, October 19th. And we have a quorum, the full board. And let me look at my notes for the agenda. Can we approve the minutes of the previous meeting?
Move to approve the meeting minutes from
The 5th.
the 5th.
Second.
No, the 5th. No, just kidding.
No, I second the motion.
I was kidding. All in favor?
Noreen,
Arlene.
yes.
Arlene, yes.
Me too.
Wim,
All right. We learned, Arlene and I went to the training, the MAHB training the other day, and we learned that even if you weren't at the meeting, that's no reason not to vote for the minutes. Basically, you are expressing your confidence that the minutes are correct, even though you didn't personally attend the meeting.
That was the most surprising thing to me of that whole training session.
One of
I
the
did
things
not
that
know
was
that.
really surprising to me was that if you post your opinion on social media, you've automatically broken the open meeting law.
Oh, I missed that.
If you post your
Oh.
opinion on your opinion, not a factual statement like
Yeah.
we did this or we're going to do that,
Mhm.
but if you post an opinion on something that's within the board's jurisdiction and you put it out there on social media, then you violated the open meeting law. Now, last week, I learned that someone took answers that I had written in an email questioning something that the Board of Health had done, and the person had taken those answers and put them on Nextdoor. Now, there weren't any opinions in it, it was just facts, but it got me to thinking. So I sent an email this morning to Mike Hugo, the guy who is the legal guy from MAHB, who did a great presentation,
Mhm.
asking him if somebody else put as I said, I didn't think I'd be foolish enough to express an opinion in a Board of Health email, but if I were, or if I wrote something that could be construed as giving an opinion, would we be in violation of the open meeting law? He said, you know, social media is still the wild west of the open meeting law, and they haven't really come down on things. And he said, if someone did put it up without your knowledge or consent, probably it would be no more than basically a slap on the wrist. But we do not want to have any further adventures with the open meeting law. So let's all be really careful.
Yeah.
how am I going to make a living as an internet influencer then?
That's a really good question, Wim. Maybe a topic for another meeting. Okay. Let me ask Joan and Diane, are you here to talk about beavers?
No, I'm just curious about what the conversation might be.
Oh, yeah, I am too.
I don't want
I
to
am
talk
too,
about
actually.
it.
Yeah,
But that's what you're
I'm
here
to
for.
listen about beavers.
Okay, I just wanted to tell you that those things are on the agenda for 7:30, so we really can't talk about them until
Okay.
then.
Okay.
So if you want to go and, pour yourself a glass of wine or something, feel free.
Oh, that's a good idea. Thank
Yeah,
you.
right. Pour one for me while you're at it, Joan.
Okay.
Okay, let me look at the agenda and see what we can do. Oh, here's something that we can do easily. There is a septic system repair needed at 276 Montague Road. And it's all, and I fumbled it. It's been hanging around for several weeks. Charlie has given his okay. That the fees have been paid, everything is in order. And I guess it was Alan Weiss sent me an email earlier, or I guess at the end of the week, saying, did this get it issued or not? And I discovered that it had not. So I said, Charlie gave his okay. There's no question but that we will approve it at the meeting. So if you need to get started on your installation, do it and we'll get the permit to you. And I hope that you don't mind. But it felt like the right thing to do since I had totally flubbed it. So could I have a motion to approve a repair septic system permit for 276 Montague Road? Don't all speak at once.
Just to clarify, it had Charlie or Claudia's full approval with there were no questionable aspects.
No,
of the
Charlie
application.
recommended that we approve it.
Okay, then I move that we approve the septic system repair as described in the application.
I'll second.
Are there any objections to our approving this?
None.
Okay, hearing none, I will issue the permit immediately, if not sooner. We talked about that. Now, while we still have some time before we get to the Beaver talk, we have the cemetery talk.
Mhm.
New development. I was talking with Sam Gladstone today and realized that he hadn't been invited. And I called I arranged a call with him because I wanted some clarifications. And he's quite miffed that he wasn't invited, and he can't come on next Monday because he's going to be on a plane to another place, and he's not coming back until November 4th. So I said I would see if we could reschedule it. I asked him if he wanted to designate some other member of the committee, because there's like 5 people on the committee, the cemetery committee of JCA. But he wants to do it himself. He feels like he's the point man. He's the guy who knows all about it. So the first time we could do it is the week of the election, which is not really great timing. But in any case, I sent an email to Elena Cohen asking her if we could possibly reschedule the meeting.
Okay.
Any thoughts or comments or anything else?
Just so you'll let us know as soon as you know, Kat.
Absolutely.
Probably don't plan for Monday at this point.
Probably not. It seems bad form to have it without Sam, and I was kind of embarrassed. But I'm glad I found out that he's not available, because I put him on the list. I just hadn't cleared it with him first, and come to find out that even remotely he couldn't do it because he's going to be in the air.
And did you
Go
propose
ahead.
a date that is coincident with one of our meetings, or would it has to be a separate meeting?
The thing is, I think it has to be a daytime meeting.
Okay.
Those are the only dates and times that they gave us. And I don't know that it's all that urgent, really. Oh, while we're on the topic there, I had a conversation yesterday with town council, and she recommends that we do a green burial Board of Health regulation as soon as possible. It's a fairly quick thing to do. We don't have to have a hearing, although we could probably arrange to advertise it to the public for the meeting at which we approved it, so that there could be discussion and hearing from the public, and possibly making changes if we're convinced by something. But there are 2 kinds of regulations that the Board of Health can do. There's septic system regulations, and those require a hearing. This is all new to me. Donna explained this to me yesterday. And then there's everything else. And those are called general regulations. And as long as they are reasonable, we heard a lot about making reasonable regulations on the MAHB training. We don't have to have a hearing. We can just publish a summary of the regulation, both in a paper. I think we have to do it twice, And we would put it online, and we would probably call attention to it by town announce. And then at the following meeting, after we decided to do that, at the following meeting, we could actually adopt a regulation.
So does the public with the announcement have an opportunity to question any new regulation?
They could, if we could send out a thing saying we are about to adopt a regulation regarding green burial, and we're going to do it at a certain time. And if you have anything to say, please attend the meeting. And then we could see, I mean, if there was something that we wanted to change, we could either change it on the spot, or we could conceivably go on to the next meeting. But I'm not exactly sure how to get it in motion. If we have to first put it on the agenda, say for our next meeting, that we're going to discuss having a regulation of this sort, and then do all the publicity and then approve it at the next meeting. But in any case, I think that Donna made it sound extremely simple, and it sounded like something that we could achieve before the end of the year. And maybe even, well before the end of the year.
And so this would be a process for green burial, regulations for green burial for new cemetery sites.
No, I
We
think
would be
the idea
pursuing a separate process for the questions around the JAC.
I think what we would be doing would be establishing a policy for green burial in general, either in cemeteries, in home burial, in new cemeteries, old cemeteries, wherever, because basically that's what we're doing unofficially now with trying to regulate what the JCA is doing. And Donna felt that it made a lot of sense to have a regulation on the books. And it shouldn't be a problem with them, because we're getting voluntary compliance from them, basically. And Sam reiterated that in our phone conversation today.
So
Yes.
do you want to put it on the agenda for the next meeting?
I think so.
All right.
I have just one question about it. We don't really
Yes.
know what the conversation is going to be with Senator Comerford's office. Is there any new news or insight we might get from that meeting that would be helpful in writing our regulation, or do you not know?
I have no idea. The meeting was requested by the abutters.
Oh, okay.
I am trying to rename myself, and I'm not having success, because
I think I can hear Catherine.
pardon me?
I should be able to do it.
Okay.
Focus on running the meeting.
Okay. So yeah, I think that we should at least get it on the agenda so we can talk about it, even if we don't really move forward, we can at least get it on the agenda, because that's kind of the first. Oh, thanks, Gary. That's kind of the first thing that we need to do. So that will be the first meeting in November, right? And that will be when? November 2nd. Okay, so between now and then, I'll try to have another conversation with town council and find out exactly what we have to do and get some idea about the appropriate language that we have to use. She said we could kind of base it on the policy that we wrote for the West Cemetery. And we also have some stuff about home burial. So we should be able to put together the details of it fairly quickly. And and she can help us get the language. There are going to be a few things we're going to have to hammer out among ourselves, but we'll do that when we have a draft in front of us and we can really talk about things. So I'll try to make even a rough draft for the next meeting, just so we'll have a place to start. Is that legitimate? We don't have to first announce it and then have the draft, and that seems like it's too slow.
You're muted, Arlene.
Arlene, you're muted.
I was not trying to speak to you. Thanks.
No.
Oh, sorry. You were waving your hands and moving your mouth, and we thought it was us. The nerve of talking to somebody else. Okay, where are we? 7:26 by me. So before we leave that general topic, I think there are a few things that we might want to follow up with Andrew Kelly at DEP on, some more points of fact. And I don't think there's any particular reason to go over them right now. I can run them by Garrett, and we can figure out where the holes are in our information, because there are some things that are not really clear, and they have to do with DEP's specific jurisdiction regarding the elementary school well, right, and the appropriate setbacks and the density and so on. When I spoke to Sam, he made it very clear that he understood that there is a density limit for green burials based on that, on the recharge area for the public water supply well. But there might be a few more things we want to ask Andrew about. And so I'm hoping we can get Garrett to do that, because he and Andrew have been talking already. We still have a couple minutes. I don't want to start talking about this
Gotcha.
until 7:30.
There is a question from Diane.
Oh, Diane, you want to unmute yourself if you're muted and ask your question? Or speak?
Yeah, Diane Jacoby, 230 Leverett Road. You said something about the green burial density and the proximity to a public well. How about a private well?
We are addressing that question. I know that you're an abutter on the other side. We have required JCA to do a full survey of their property and to show the wells on both sides, on their side of Leverett Road, and also wells on the opposite side of Leverett Road, 3 wells. So we're going to know about that. And that will be very significant in our decision about what to do.
And yeah, if I could get notice as an abutter, that would be appreciated.
Notice of what?
Of, I guess, things that are going on, considerations of this new bylaw.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. What would be the best thing would be is if you would just follow us on the calendar. But probably we're going to be talking about it every time, until we get it sorted out.
Now, it just strikes me as a little odd. I come here to hear about beavers at the lake. And
I'm surprised we're hearing about something right in your
I learned that my
backyard.
next door neighbor is doing things.
Right. Well, it came as a surprise to us too.
Yeah.
And we are aware that you have some skin in this game, and we're paying attention to that. Would have been a good idea for us to let you know. It just it's been really busy out. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Okay. You could put your hand down, I guess, if you're done. Thanks. All right, it's 7:30, and we said that at 7:30 we were going to hear from people about their concerns about beaver control, and we have here Mary Lou Conca and Diane and Joan, but Diane and Joan both said they wanted to just listen. So why don't we hear what Mary Lou has to say? Over to you, Mary Lou. Can you hear me?
I've just admitted her another way, so she may be calling in now.
Oh, okay.
And it looks like her other way of communicating is connected, so. she
Okay.
might hear us now.
Okay.
Mary
Hi.
Lou, can you hear us now?
Yes, Catherine, are you addressing me, Mary Lou Conca?
Yes, I am.
Hi, good afternoon, good evening. Yes, so I was very curious can you hold on a second? Because I had to come in on both devices and I'm going to shut off my computer. I'll do that really quick. I'll take you with me while I do it. I wasn't being allowed in on the iPhone, so I'm sorry. Here we go. Wait a minute. X. Oops. All right, thank you.
Okay.
I was very concerned the first time I heard that beavers were being, I did a lot of research about it and that they were being drowned. They catch them first in a suitcase. And then just last Monday, I heard it happens again in Shutesbury. The first time it was over on Baker Road. This second time it happens at Lake Wyola. And I've been doing a lot of like talking to all kinds of people in the field and including Kristen, our police chief, who the most recent communication I had, she told me that they were shot with a pellet gun and that perhaps that didn't involve the legal part of it being close to homes. Now, I understand that once you give a permit, that's the end of your involvement. Am I correct?
Yes, it's kind of weird, Mary Lou. It's not only the end of our involvement, it's basically the beginning of our involvement, because it's not like we have any jurisdiction or any influence really on any kind of beaver control. Basically, when an individual, and we've never had an individual request, it's usually it's always either the town of Shutesbury or it's the Amherst Water Department if it happens down by Atkins Reservoir. If they want to trap out any beavers outside of a certain period in the wintertime, let me back up one step. In the wintertime, beavers can be trapped without a special permit, just by right. Outside of that period, if someone wishes to trap a beaver because of effect on, basically it's a negative effect on public health or safety, they need to get the consult of the Board of Health.
Okay.
So we're not driving this. We are just sort of the final paper pusher. And to be honest, I don't know why that is. About 20 years ago or so, the legislature in its wisdom decided that was going to be the way it was. So since that time, maybe every year or two, and more recently, maybe once a year, we get requests to trap beavers that are otherwise, that the highway department has otherwise been incapable of controlling and that are causing serious threats to human infrastructure.
My goodness. What would be the ways the highway department would be controlling these animals that then they found they couldn't, and then you just hit a serious threat. I mean, I can't in my wildest imagination imagine a beaver who's behaving like a beaver, causing any kind of threat to a human being.
Okay,
I
can I tell you about that? Because there are ways. The way that beavers cause threats to human health or safety is by being beavers. And what beavers do is they block off running water to create higher water levels in the ponds where they live.
Right.
Now, that causes flooding. Most of the beavers in Western Massachusetts, and believe me, there are a lot of them, because 40, 50 years ago, beavers were reintroduced here. They were practically extinct. And they were reintroduced, and that has been fantastically successful. I mean, more than their wildest dreams, probably. There are beavers just everywhere. And most of these beavers are not bothering anybody, okay? And nobody's bothering them.
Right.
Right, but when they build their dams and raise water levels, they can cause flooding, and that flooding can, well, there was a thing over on Baker Road a year or two ago where, I mean, the water in the pond was rising like it was just about at somebody's door sill. They can cause culverts to plug up and then cause road erosion and cause the road actually to wash out. Here at Lake Wyola, it seems unlikely that that higher water on the far side of that culvert could actually wash the culvert out, although it would cause flooding on the other side. But the problem there was really, it's more complicated because an estimated 80% of the stream flow into Lake Wyola comes from Fisk Brook, right? And it would be easy, and you probably are familiar with that culvert, it would be easy for beavers to completely fill it up and completely block 80% of the stream flow into Lake Wyola. And never mind the human infrastructure, the effect on downstream wildlife communities would be huge. I don't know. Go ahead, Lynn.
There is where humans share the water body with the beaver, as in Lake Wyola, there is a danger to human health because beavers are an alternate host for giardia.
Mm.
So if you're swimming in beaver infested water, you run a risk of giardia.
And
Okay,
by the
so-
way, that's
yeah.
like Lake Wyola. So if you swim there, do not swallow the water.
No, I don't.
Good.
And the flags were up for quite a while this summer too. The swim under your own risk. At any rate, all that given, I'm flabbergasted over the idea of a wild animal being killed. I'm very, very upset that I live in a town that my taxes so support. I may be naive. I may be, that may be the way it's happening everywhere. Okay, so I'm here to ask, can't there be, okay, you're a board of health, okay, can't there be an alternate way? And maybe it will take more boards of this town to avoid killing them. I mean, it's a mind boggle to me to and I learned that the for a minute you thought people were just getting their rifles out of their gun cabinets and shooting these creatures for a minute. And then I looked into it more, and they're called pest animal control agents. And then I learned that you gave them a 10-day license. And that was another issue, that on National Indigenous Peoples Day, okay, a holiday, a federal holiday where would be people and children playing in their yards, etc. The shooting went on. And that's how it came to my attention on next door Shutesbury. That's not okay. I can't live in a town that's happening. Are you kidding? If I was down there with my grandchildren, which I take them there, and there was shooting, I'm shaking right now just talking about it, Catherine. We're all in some kind of shock with the school shootings, etc. To have this happen so close to home, it just, I am sure there is another way. Mary Jo Johnson, she gave us, I'm surprised we don't see her here this evening. She gave us there's a Beaver Institute, and I'll share that with you all. And hopefully we can do better. So thank you for letting me speak. Thank you.
Thank you for expressing your feelings about this. And I assure you, this isn't anything that anybody likes. And unfortunately, beavers are like human people in that they reproduce and they spread out and they they run up against the carrying capacity of their environment. Now, the beavers that were trapped at the Fisk Brook culvert are presumably the offspring of beavers that starting up, at least up as far as Fisk Brook, right, have plenty of habitat up there. There are beaver lodges. There's an enormous marsh a little bit upstream where the beavers are have pretty much taken it over and totally rescaped that landscape. And they're not bothering anybody. Now, you probably know that there are devices that are intended to make it possible for beavers and humans to peacefully coexist. But they don't always work, and it's not always possible to install them. For example, the so-called beaver deceivers. Well, some beavers are not easily deceived. I mean, in that Baker Road case from last year or the year before, they had tried that more than once, but the beavers found the beaver deceiver, and they found some way to circumvent it. I can't remember what it was. Also, water flow control devices are dependent on having a change in elevation. So you've got impounded water at a higher level, and then you've got a sort of bathtub drain that keeps that goes under the dam that they've built, and keeps letting the water run out so that it doesn't flood on the other side. At Fisk Brook, you probably know this, I don't know, I'm not good at distances, but for many, many yards, the water is absolutely flat. There's no way of using a water flow control device there. I know that beavers have tried to build there before, and I think at one point the dam keeper was actually going down there like daily and taking the new construction down, right? He can't do that anymore, and we don't have the infrastructure to do that kind of thing. I would think that if there were some kind of citizen committee that could work maybe under the direction of the highway department and could try to find alternate solutions for beaver problems in the making, that would be a fine thing. But I'm sure you understand that everyone who works for the town, whether compensated or not, is running pretty hard just to stay still. I mean, if we're going to create new work for people, that's really not going to fly. Is there anything else that anybody would like to say on this? Mary Lou, Joan, Diane, or any member of the board?
Diane does have her hand raised.
Oh, please go ahead, Diane.
Were the beavers at Lake Wyola shot? Like with a gun?
Apparently, when they came to, and I meant to call Tim about this and I ran out of time. Apparently, when they came to check the trap, there was a beaver alive. And apparently they shot it with some kind of pellet gun or something. And that was, if that was fatal, it was better than letting it drown, because I understand that drowning is extremely bad for beavers because they aren't made to drown. So it was basically euthanasia.
So it was a pellet gun and not like a real firearm.
That's what Mary Lou and Kristen apparently have they think.
The idea of people using firearms down at the lake really frightens me.
Well, yeah. It's not, this again isn't something that we have control over. Basically, all we do is say, yes, you can, here's the permit, you can do it. You've demonstrated that you've got an emergency. And that's part of the thing, Diane. These things don't come to us unless there's an emergency, right? So nobody comes to us and says, we think later on, maybe we're going to have a problem with these beavers, right? We hear, we've got a problem and we need it fixed right now, right? And usually that is in fact the case. So it's pretty frustrating for us too, because not that we really need another thing to be managing, but we basically don't have any choice, right? Because suppose higher water levels caused by beaver activity actually does cause damage to lives and property. And it is found that the town, that is to say us, knowing of the threat, failed to act. Right? Not good. So we're kind of trapped, right? There isn't really anything that we can do. And that's why I would hope that the people who really care about this would try to work on managing the situation or helping to manage the situation before it came to an emergency.
Mary Lou has her hand raised.
Mary Lou,
Yeah.
please go ahead.
Hi, thank you. To address what Diane was saying, I was told today by Kristen that pellet guns were used. I spoke to my husband, who's a hunter, and it would have to be a very strong pellet gun to kill a beaver. And okay, that's one thing. And gunshot was heard by several families at the lake on October 12th while they were home with their families. That's the part that's got me freaked out. I can't understand, how can a town allow, I mean, I know, okay, so you're the permitting entity, and it goes down, and then you speak to the police chief and they tell you it was a pellet gun. And, and I mean, the issue just goes around and around. You talk to this one, that one, and the other one. And yes, Catherine, we do want to make a citizens group. We do, to prevent this sort of thing from happening again. And when you were saying the thing about beavers and families, I did research. They're very family oriented, whereas a beaver will come back 2 or 3 years and then know its mother and grandmother and everybody else. So and you also compared beavers to people. So just think that you would be witnessing your family being taken out. I mean, it's too much. Again,
Well, please
thank you.
understand that We don't do this unless there really is
Okay,
a problem. Nobody likes doing this, Mary Lou. Nobody really wants it to happen. But
right.
sometimes it's the only alternative that's left to us. And usually when they come and ask for one of these permits, they've already tried everything else, or at least they've looked into everything else. They don't just say, whoops, beaver, let's kill it. It's not like that. People
Right,
don't want
right.
to do that. Everybody agrees with you that this is horrid, right? Nobody wants to do it.
Well, I
But-
would like to be living in a different place where they don't do this kind of thing. That's how far it's brought me today. But
Well, I'll tell
but-
you, if you can find such a place, you should let us know where it is, because we have the same thing all over Western Massachusetts.
it's actually the whole state of Massachusetts, because I talked to that department as well. But okay, so why couldn't the abutters know that there were going to be people shooting guns in front of their door, up very close to their house?
It's my understanding that
tell
the
it-
trap, wait,
Oh.
please, that the trap was I thought that the trap was on the other side of the culvert. Now,
Okay.
because we're not involved in it, that's not something that I happen to know. But I don't think that it was that close to people's houses. I could be wrong.
There was gunshot heard, and there were 3 families that I've been speaking to at the lake who heard it.
I can understand that
heard
it would
that?
be heard. You can hear,
Uh,
my goodness, you can hear somebody sneeze. When somebody sneezes on the lake, you hear it all over the whole lake. It's just a big reflecting bowl.
Big echo.
Yeah,
Okay. All righty, thank you.
thank
Oh,
you.
I'm-
Yes, go
I'm
ahead.
Yeah, but I'm going to contact the Beaver Institute. I have I've tried to be in touch with them. Would any of you on the Board of Health be interested in hearing from them? Because they don't kill beavers. They specialize in doing, everything possible, probably more things than the highway department or the town of Shutesbury I've heard of doing to prevent having to kill them. Would you want to know about them?
Well, Mary Jo sent me the link, I think the
Oh,
link that she
good.
sent you. So I will share it with the rest of the Board of Health.
Thank you.
I'm not sure that it's appropriate for the Board of Health specifically to take that on, but it's obviously of interest to us because we have to give the permit.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right. Any other thoughts on this topic? Okay, hearing none. Let's move on to, do we have more things on our agenda? Oh, that's not what I wanted, sorry. Somebody got the agenda in front of them. Mine went away.
So I show we did minutes. We've discussed beavers. Septic system 276 Montague Road, that's done. Was there anything else on MAHB training?
I don't think so. Arlene, was there anything that you noticed in the training that you wanted to bring up? If you're speaking, you're muted.
Sorry, I was on the my email page with the minutes were. I don't have anything further to add on the MHB training. Thanks.
Okay. Do we have any other updates on anything else? For example, the Public Health Excellence Grant? By the way, I can tell you that I did that gruesome baseline capacity assessment, and it really does take an hour and a half. But we look pretty good on it. Most of the answers were either, yes, we do that stuff, or no, that's just not applicable in our town. Yes, ma'am.
Were we not each supposed to do that?
No,
Just one?
no, just
Okay.
one. Basically the chair was supposed to do it. So
Okay.
I did that.
Thanks.
after they get that, then there is going to be something for everybody to do, for each individual to do, but that hasn't come out yet. That's phase 2.
Thanks.
And then the next meeting of the group is the 27th, so I'll report on that on the 2nd, I believe it is. Yes.
Oh, that's interesting, because that's, the 2nd is the same day there's,
Oh, the
there's some-
training.
yeah, or whatever it is.
That's right.
Okay, well, it'll be a busy day for the Board of Health.
It will.
Okay, is there anything else that we need to discuss? Anybody? Okay, how about we discuss a motion to adjourn?
I'll move to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
Okay, I think I'm pretty sure we're all in favor of that. Thank you all,
Yes.
and sorry for the screw up at the beginning, but obviously it worked well enough because people could get in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's good.